Yeah, hi everyone. Hope you all are doing great today. Had a wonderful weekend as well. All right. So, since you all are here, let's get started. Let me quickly share my screen. Can I get a quick confirmation, folks, that you all can see my screen and you can hear me pretty well?
Yes, we can.
Right. Right. Thanks for the confirmation. All right. So I told you that on Friday we did this. We kind of created this backlog here. I think this is sprint 4. What was the name of our project? Healthcare?
Healthcare management.
Yes. So we kind of completed these, right? And we completed these projects, sorry, these sprints.
So, Rajat, can I ask you a question?
Yeah, please, sure.
As you know, I missed Friday because of Eid. So I would need the recordings and I asked Janki about it. She said that you are the one who's gonna forward the recordings.
No, I actually
Hey,
the
Arima, I bought the link from her, so if you want, I can share in the chat.
Oh, sure, definitely. Thank
Yeah.
you.
that would be great, but
So in the morning, I also asked to her, and she gave me a same reply which you get. So then after she share a YouTube link, so I will share in the chat.
Okay, thank you so
that would
much.
be great. Yeah, wonderful. All right.
I share in the chat. Is everyone able to look?
I don't see anything in chat.
Yeah, I haven't gotten anything either.
Let me see. So Rajat, it shows me like I am going to send message to you, but I'm not able to share the message rest of the folks. Yeah.
Can you guys see it now? I just copied his message and shared it.
Yeah,
Let me
I
see.
can see it. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, it is there.
And Rajat, before moving forward, that I'm because I was not able to copy you on Friday, and so I'm trying to get same process on Zira that, but it shows me different name on Bablock. So if you can say, then I will share my screen and
Yeah,
will,
sure, please.
yeah. Give me a moment.
Mm-hmm.
Are you able to see my screen?
Yes, I can. So,
And over here, see in a project. So in a backlog, it shows me Scrum 1,
no,
Scrum
no,
2.
we can only see your Gmail.
Oh, okay. Give me a moment. Share. Yeah, here. Now, are you able to see?
Yeah, I can see it now.
So it shows me Scrum 1 over here in the Bablob instead of HMP or something. So in your screen, it shows HMP1 transfer money.
That could be the reason, because when you would have created that project in that key field, yeah, but it is showing that as a backlog. Yeah, the symbol is back. It's okay. Name is fine.
Uh-huh.
It's actually the key that actually we decide while creating the project itself. But that's okay. Even if it is showing Scrum 1, Scrum 2, that's not going to be an issue because your symbol says it's a user story only. So that's okay. That's not going to matter here.
Okay.
You can just assign these.
Yeah, so I finished Thursday classes and I'm remained with
Friday.
Friday.
Mhm.
So I'm practicing this.
All right. Then
Yeah.
wonderful. No problem. It's
Okay.
not going to be an issue. It's a Scrum Master.
Okay. Okay.
That could have been accidentally done with that. You went with the default project, so that's why it is. But that's okay. No problems. All right. All right. So what do we have here is okay. So on Friday, if you go through the recordings, you'll see we actually created this one. This is what do we call as product backlog. We created like 10 backlogs here. Then we created 4 sprints. In those 4 sprints, we added backlogs, and then it became sprint backlog. Okay, so we got then that this sprint backlog here. Okay, now when we have this product and sprint backlog here, okay, then we started the sprint and we went into this. Now, when you're talking about Scrum, this is your board, okay, where you have this column-like structure, which you can, of course, just put this, which you can customize with this plus sign. Like you can, earlier it was just to do, in progress, and done. So you have to always remember that it should start with to do and should be ending with done. In between, you can add more. Depending upon what are the different stages here and how it would be moving from one stage to another. Depending upon that, you can have these added. Okay. Now what happens that when you have all of this, now, based on to this, what we could do here is we have added these different stages, right? And then these backlogs can be moved from one stage to another stage. like this. You can set up these max requirements, like how much maximum it can have. So if it goes beyond this, then there will be an highlight. If it is completed, then it will be like this. That is all we discussed on that day, right? But I kept few of these here over the weekend so that we can check few things in the reports. I'll show you the reports now. Here we can check the sprint details, like for how long this particular sprint will be there. This was our week's sprint, so which we are having like this. And if you try to, let's say, complete the sprint, now, even if something is pending, if I try to do this now, what options we are getting in here? New sprint and backlog. So where this remaining will go onto the new sprint or backlog. That's how it is. Okay. So you can do that. Plus, if you complete everything, like this. See, now everything is gone. Now, if it comes here, actually, by default, whenever it launches in this backlog or it lands onto this backlog again, it creates this HTML sprint 5, like a new sprint for the backlog. But that's okay. We can avoid this because we do not have any more backlogs to go with our sprint. Now, what is backlog? What is sprint? This thing you guys are already aware of. Now, the thing is, okay, we completed 4 sprints, but where are all of those? So you can go to these reports. Now, you might not be able to see the reports. So for that, what you have to do is, you have to click on this plus, and there it will show you that reports section. And from there, you have to select that report. Here. Right now, I have already added the report, so that's why it is not showing report here. But when you will click, it will have that, and then I say add to navigation, and it will be appearing there. Let's say if I add this releases, I add it. So you would see that here we have releases and reports. We can move this anywhere where we want to, and then that's how it is. Okay. And if you want, you can remove that from here. Now, what is there in the reports? I believe I told you this already. But yeah, in the burn up report, you'll see how much of the work has completed. As you can see here, we started this sprint number 4. It will always give you the latest one first. So sprint number 4, we just completed. So as you can see, it is showing right now here. Started on June 7. June 7th, we completed 1. And then today, see, it is going here. And today. So if let's say you complete on like, at some interval and on these specific days, then it would be going like this. Like this, it will go. Right? And that will know that, okay, this is how. And this is all happening because we assign those story points to your these backlogs. Because based on to that only, we are going with this. Right? We all go with that. So depending upon those, so your scope will be decided depending upon the total of your story points. Right? And we have this thing added. So as in when you'll be completing, it will keep added and final. Now, if completed and scope is same, which means you have completed everything in your sprint. Nothing was pending. But if let's say you have it like this, then you would know that, okay, something is pending. Because you total have to complete 28, but you completed only 14. Because it has the details of everything. When you started your sprint, when you ended your sprint, when you completed individual work items. So you had 4, you completed 2, though there are 2 remaining. That is how it is. That is how you have the something. Okay. So this is your Jira stuff that wanted to discuss with you. I believe I showed you the other reports as well. The burn down talks about how much you have pending. So you can see in the sprint 4, nothing is pending, everything is done. If you go to the sprint number 3, there were a few things pending. So it will give you like what is there as incomplete and completed work items. Okay. So this gives like what is pending that is burned down. Then you do have velocity. Velocity talks about how much of these would be completed. Okay, you can see here. So every sprint, how many were there, how many completed, how many were there, how many completed, this is all about it. Okay, so that is up here. Other than that, we do have the cumulative flow diagram where you can see how much effort has been put into which one. So you can see that as a color graph. You can pick up your dates and right now we did everything on like a day or 2. So that won't be, in terms of visible colors here. But yeah, like if you would be doing that in real life, in the real world scenarios, it will be like proper color coding. Observe how much of the effort has been put in terms of the work items. Work items, like how many of those would be there in most of the time where those work items were there. Work items are basically your backlogs, which were there in the action with that. So this is your Jira that we have in here. Other than that, what I could do is Generally what they do is they have this, yeah. First, like if you want to explore more, of course, we have this. I'm sharing one document in the chat. This is like Scrum Guide that we have, which you can go ahead with. Plus, for Jira, we have these. Yeah, that is like their project guide. This is good. I'm sharing these links in the chat. You can like if see if you want to explore more, you have this up in here. This is like where you can explore more of the Jira.
That we cannot see your screen.
Yeah, I'm just sharing the links actually.
Oh, okay.
Just give me one quick sec. Free train. Okay, now I'll do that. Wait, actually, we had this. Just give me one quick second. Actually, they had these free trainings. I believe I had that link. Just give me one. Actually, they have now changed it. Let me just locate that for you again. There was a lot of changes going in here. Actually, they have changed their like how you would get trained with this. This now they have added that to the certification. Right, let me get you on the certification. That's not certification. See, they have a learning. But yeah, actually now they are going with more like Microsoft kind of stuff. Just give me once. Mm. And actually, they have a lot of products. This Atlassian. So now the thing is, actually, they kind of put that all together. They made it like super complex. Okay, but no worries. You can go with this thing here, Jira Guide, and there it will. Anyway, you'll see a lot many things. Other than that, no free training. Actually, they have now moved to the training center where you need to log in. That's okay. That I'll share with you later. No problem. Right now, this is good. So we have this. There you can go and check more details about it. And see, guys, I have given you this, like you consider this as a toy to play around. Okay. And see, first of all, it's free. Second, it's on cloud. So you need not to worry about saving your work and all that. Third, though like Jira comes with a desktop variant as well, but even if you learn this one, that would be more than enough. Third, you can create like as many projects as you want to, start with this up in here. Okay. Now Jira comes up with a lot of products here, but we need not to go with all of these. We'll focus on to Jira, which is our agile project management system. And that's what we would be going with. Okay. So this is what we have in there. Like from the initial perspective, more of the advanced things we'll explore as we go further in our training. Now, since you all have the recording access already, you can go through with that, like specifically in terms of Jira, what we did on that day. Right, so this is what we have up in here with this. Next, so just play around with this and let's just see how it goes. I believe I have shared all these presentations with you. And now I have shared the presentation that we are going to go next. I already shared that with you in advance. Let me share my screen again. The next in our agenda, we have this. Now see, what happens now when we started with Agile project, or like we started with actually SDLC. We discussed waterfall and Agile. Okay, we created Agile project in Jira, right? We practiced Scrum and everything. There we went with creating and executing sprints, running those sprints. That all is being done. Now that was our module 1. Right? So in that module 1, we talked about all of this. Now see, because it is a QA/BA training, it's an analyst training, quality analyst and business analyst. So we had designed this training in a way that most of the things or actually for both. Applies to the both job roles, right? Like the way this was there, the first module, it applies to both. Whether you are going to be a QA or a BA, you must know about it. Okay. Now, next thing, our next module, which we have business analysis overview and BA tools, wherein I'll just give you a brief, though there is a lot. That's why I have shared that presentation with you already. But I'll just focus on to what is business analysis and how as a BA, because we discussed that in this SDLC, you have that like you go with the planning, and then you go with requirement analysis, then design, then development, then testing. Then you have deployment and maintenance, right? And we know that this is the place which is primarily taken care by BAs. So how these BAs are doing their job of being a business analyst here, that's what we are trying to understand. Though it looks like this particular module, module number 2, is primarily focused on BAs, but even if you're going to go become a QA, it is good to know a bit about the BA stuff as well. And that's how it is all going to be. Just give me one quick second. So that is how it would be in here. Okay. So even if you're going to become a QA, that's not going to be an issue. You can still learn a few different aspects in here because here we'll talk about what is business analysis. Those are all going to be a little bit of theoretical aspect that I'll try to get it done quickly. But primarily we are looking for this Microsoft Visio because that's a wonderful tool for BAs to learn where you create these diagrams, which is we call as UML diagram, right? And that is how it is all going to go up in here. Right? So we'll go with that as well. Now you have business analysis introduction. Now what happens with this business analysis introduction up in here is we have this business analysis as a research discipline. Right? Now in this research discipline, what do we have is we have our business analysis where we need to understand what the client business is. Okay. Now, business analysis can be done like for a software or a system component development. It can also be done for improvement in the process, organizational changes, strategic planning. But here, our major agenda is actually this. Because BA is a pretty generic term. Business analysis is not just something dedicated only to the software industry. It can be used like anywhere. But we would learn business analysis only from the perspective of to be used in the software development. Okay. So we need to understand what problem the client is facing and then identify solutions so that we can have this guy appearing up in here with that. Okay. Now, why we need to use this? Because you can understand the structure and dynamics of your client organization. What is the current problem client is facing? We can identify the improvement potentials and we can recommend the solutions. We can have identify and articulate the need for change in the client organization where the client is struggling. And of course, the value that particular client is delivering to all of its stakeholders. That all we could be adding up in here. Now, these are the primary 6 steps. See, there is a bit of theoretical aspect here in this particular module, but I'll try to cover that as quickly as possible so that we can jump onto the practical aspect of it. So we have this these 6 steps as like enterprise analysis, requirement planning and management, elicitation, analysis and documentation, communication, and solution evaluation and validation. I'll tell you that. Enterprise analysis is all about knowing your client. So this enterprise is basically your client enterprise. More like a pre-project activity as well, when you just need to understand that, okay, what actually this client is, what is that particular business case he has come up with, and then we'll come up with a decision package based on like whether this project seems to be doable for us or not. Based on that, we'll go. Okay, so it is all about whether the project will be a go or no go. That's what we're going to see in here. Other than that, what we have here is requirement planning and management. Now, once the project is being finalized, you being a BA, you have to go and come up with your proper approach. Like, what would you do? What resources you will need? Because you are the one, you being a, see now this particular module is all about being a BA, business analyst. So now when I say you, it's going to be a business analyst. So you being a business analyst, you being a BA, you have to plan and manage the requirements. But to do that, what are the different tasks that you will perform? What are the resources that you would need? And more importantly, how would you do this? That is very important because nowadays it's all agile. And in agile, we allow the clients, we allow them to make some changes in the requirements in terms of they can add a new requirement, they can modify an existing requirement. Even if they want, they can get a requirement deleted as well. But ultimately, whatever you do, it will make changes into the requirement. It's okay. We're not going to restrict customers to not to change the requirements because we are going to allow that. That's the nature. That's how the agile works. Now, the thing is, it's all about how you being a BA is handling these changes. Not only correctly, but consistently without any issues, right? So that mechanism also you have to derive, you have to devise, you should be having an appropriate approach how to go ahead with that. And see, you need not to think about it. Nowadays, we already have processes defined among all the departments in the organizations. So you just have to follow the process. That's it, nothing else. So they have processes for everything. Like, see, this is the And they kind of have created these templates. So this is the template that you would use for this like, let's say, requirement gathering, or like, change management. Everything they have already defined, so you just have to follow that. Then comes elicitation. Elicitation is all about communicating with the users, right? Getting the requirements from them. And once you have those requirements, you have to analyze and document those requirements, right? You'll analyze depending upon whether this is the right set of requirements or not, and all of that. Okay, that you would do, and you will prepare fine documentation around it. Once the documentation is ready, then you would communicate that requirement, like to whomsoever. First, you might be discussing that with the client that, hey, this is what I have come up with, an analysis of your requirements, and this is what we are going to finalize. Client might suggest some changes there. So you need to get those changes done and then finalize, and then there will be reviews. You can even have that those requirements being communicated to your technical development team as well. With them also, there will be review sessions, and then finally it will be evaluated and approved. Once it is approved, then it is going to be part of your, like, then it will be communicated to the respective teams that, okay, this is what, because see, we are doing requirement analysis. Requirement analysis gives this whole software development process the answer to what needs to be developed. That is what requirement analysis is all about. Because after that, we'll have design, development, and testing. These three phases are going to take care of how the application, how the software will be developed. So we are looking for the answer of the what, and that what would be approved here. Even it can be used in the evaluation validation as well. Because what happens now here, once this is all done, we know that what needs to be developed based on to this only they are going to create it. So when there will be user acceptance testing, or when we're going to call in the client, then they would actually verify this based on to this requirement which are being finalized. This is just about like what is this process in general, but that is like in general overview of that particular process. But now we're going to talk about the framework. Now you say that, okay, I am a BA, I understand what business analysis is, but how would you work as a business analyst? Do you have an approach? Do you have an action plan to go ahead with? And that's where this business analysis framework comes into picture. This is like a working guide for the BAs, because that's where you go with that blueprint where like how would you be doing this business analysis as a business analyst for your organizations. Okay, there are multiple techniques which are there, which I'll show you, and it's a complete approach that they go with. Best part is, because see, why we need this framework here, because it is a step-by-step approach. And in this, you will have highly diverse domain. We have healthcare, we have retail, right? We have education, we have military, banking, and finance. There are multiple domains available. Now, can we get something like that can guide us through with all those different domains, related approaches? At the same time, process requirements, customer expectations are continuously rising. And technical breakthroughs are happening every day, right? Now, everyone is saying that we want AI in our application. Somehow you incorporate AI. Okay, even they don't have an idea like where they're going to use AI, but still they want AI into their projects. Why? Because it's all the AI era that we are going in now. So how would you accommodate all of that in your these projects? And that is what it is all about up in here with this. Okay, so that is where they go with going in all up with this, right? That's how. So this framework actually helped these PAs to go ahead with all these difficult situations. Now in this, we have these 5 steps. I'll quickly just explain you all this. See, there is a lot of this, but I'm just going a bit faster. If you don't understand anything, do let me know. You can ask a question anytime. But these are like most of the things are self-explanatory. And as in where required, major topics I'm discussing with you anyway. Now, when you talk about the first step is all about, now this is what your working strategy would be, being a BA. Okay. First is all about investigation of the situation. So you have to investigate this situation here. Right? So that, okay, I'm going to investigate the situation because it is all about keeping a broad scope, analyze what is the problem here that client is facing in the business. Okay. And never rush to the conclusions. No, there is a process to analyze because you don't have to look at the problem. No, you have to investigate it. Right? Now, when investigation itself is a word which has details, right? So you will go in the detail, you'll see that, okay, what actually the problem is, not how it can be resolved, but what actually the problem. You have to investigate the situation. Then you have to develop a perspective. Perspective is all about, it's like, putting your legs into their shoes, right? Like what from the business owner's perspective, stakeholders' perspective, what they are feeling, what actually issues they have this with this up in here. Now in this, you might have to meet everyone, but you have to manage all those. But at the same time, you have to take care of those people as well who are the decision makers. So those decision-making authorities you have to primarily consider, but that doesn't mean that you cannot pay attention to what the other stakeholders are saying. No, you have to make sure that you are giving due respect to the comments coming from all these stakeholders. That is all fine. Okay, that is all about the perspective. Then analysis of needs is all about the requirement analysis. But in the requirement analysis, you can tell them that you're going with the gap analysis as well, which is all about, this actually helps you to make those clients understand that why we need the improvements and enhancements, kind of justification. That, see, this is what you are having your current, like let's say any specific production or like anything, and the required output. So you can show them that gap, that see, this is where we are lacking. And that's why we need improvement. That's why we need enhancements in your current process, in your current system, and we will come up with a new improved version up in here. Then once you make them realize that, okay, there is this need for change, then they'll say that, okay, we are open, we are ready for those changes. Then you can show them like what are the different options they have. Okay. And then based on to that, they'll tell you that, okay, yeah, fine, no problem. That's what we're gonna go ahead with. Then finally, once they are going with that, okay, now we are happy with this particular solution that you have suggested. Then finally, you will incorporate that in your requirement documentation, and then you'll follow the process accordingly. That is how this business analysis framework is all about. Just to help BAs, simplify the overall process that yes, this is how it is all going to be. Okay. This is the structure of the business analysis framework. Now you'll say that, okay, if we have to go with the business analysis, how would we go? Do we have some specific techniques to go ahead with? Then yes, we do have. We have these different techniques up in here, wherein you talk about SWOT, MOST, is BPM, which is business process modeling, NFRA, brainstorming, requirement analysis, user stories, best analysis. We'll talk about each of these. We'll start with the SWOT because see, this is, you need to learn all of this. It's not necessary that you will use all of these in every project. No. As and when required, you can go ahead with these, but you just need to have an understanding of all these. SWOT. SWOT is a pretty common terminology, and this technique is used in multiple of those practices, but here we'll use it from the software development perspective, wherein we know that SWOT is strength, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So we'll go with that. And strengths is all about getting all those strengths and positive aspects of your current system, because you will analyze the current process, the current system, existing system at the client side. And based on to that, you will decide where the problem is, how to go ahead with that and all this. So first is strengths. So we'll go with these strength and positive aspects. We need to take a note of those because we have to foster these in your solution. That's strength. Weaknesses would be all those weak links and pain points of the business process. Those need to be marked and noted, right? And we need to eradicate those, remove those, so that those should not be there in your proposed solution. So these are all the internal factors for your project, okay, right, for your client system. But we need to look into some external as well, like we have opportunities. Like let's say if we need to look for some external factors which needs to be identified, like let's say inclusion of AI, right? That we need to think of. So these are the market opportunities that, okay, everyone is going with that. And with that, this particular project would be having an edge over others. And threats. Threats are like threat from the new entrants. This is just an example, but like it's all about, do we have any external, let's say you said that, okay, we're going to come up with an application which will have the inclusion of AI, and there you have your rival who is also planning to go ahead with that, and they have announced that they're going to launch it in like 2 months. Okay, then what? So that's how it all goes up in here. So this could be a threat that the rival organization is going to do that like pretty quickly here. So you can go ahead with this. It's not necessary that you do it, but this actually gives you all about like what are the strengths in the current system so that you can have those up in here. What are those things that needs to be eradicated as a weaknesses? What are the business opportunities we have, and what could be the threats to the solution that we are going to offer up in here? This is what it would be. That is how it all goes up in. Okay. Similarly, and you see that I told you that this is an elaborative analysis, and that's where strength and weaknesses internal, and opportunities and threats are external processes. Okay. That is how it all goes with that. Okay. So this is what we are having this up in here. This is just a glimpse of what we have in here. But yeah, like all those remaining, but there are other techniques as well. But that we would discuss tomorrow. You just practice that, go with through the recordings. You'll see how it all goes up. All right. Do we have any questions before we call it a day today? Anything you guys need to ask? Got the access now as well onto that itself. I believe all of these videos will be uploaded and you'll have that up.
No, that's all.
Wonderful. All right, then, yeah, have a great night, folks, and try to practice this, what we have here, and we'll meet tomorrow. Bye, folks. Take care.
Thank you. Bye.